Okay, wonderful. So today I have a wonderful guest here with me today. And this Zoom call, this recording is all about what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. So I'm inviting friends of mine, people that I'm connected with that have wonderful stories to share with you so you can connect to these stories and see wherever you are on your journey and connect with that so you can experience um, the the life that's in these stories from these people. And today I have an amazing person with me here today, Terri. Hi, I want to just turn it over to you, let you introduce yourself, and tell your story of what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now.
All right, thank you. And I'm Terri Cornish, and I am a positive leadership coach. And you've probably heard of and even played with the law of attraction and may even have tried to make it work, but you found it was a lot more work than you thought. Today, you're going to explore how you can let go of the struggle and take back power over your thoughts and emotions, and you'll have your own formula for manifesting. So, and at the end of this, Robert, I'm going to share with everybody. I'll give you an opportunity to explore using it for yourself in a complimentary private session. You've probably heard that if you hear something and it's interesting, you write it down, you tend to forget it. And if you do it, if you actually get in and use it, that you understand and own it. So the private session will help you do that. But first, let me give you a little background. And my Susie Q cat is helping here. But you may see her in a minute. So before falling in love with coaching, I began by teaching elementary school. I later got an MBA. I owned four travel agencies, including two in Las Vegas, and helped my first husband build his consulting business for the gold mining industry in 5 countries, including living in all 5 of them. And after a 30-year marriage, I found myself lost in a midlife crisis and getting a divorce. The thing is, at the time, my entire existence had been tied to my soon-to-be ex-husband and his business. It took me long enough to be true to myself, but I finally did. The big problem then was that I literally didn't know what to do. That meant I had been living in a foreign country for 18 months. I was living actually in Honduras. And everything I knew for 30 years no longer was going to exist, including no business and actually going bankrupt as well. Then I found 2 loves at once. My soulmate, Robert, and he introduced me to coaching. I joined him and we started the international coaching business Winners 25 years ago. Since then, I've also been a CEO coach for the programs of Tony Robbins, Chet Holmes, and T. Harv Eker's Peak Potentials. I've empowered thousands of my clients to own and live their dreams of success, security, and freedom for both their life and business. Along the way, I've had a unique experience of collaborating with legends and leaders. This includes training with Wayne Dyer, Mark Victor Hansen, Deepak Chopra, Bob Proctor, Peter Sage, and of course, Eric Lofholm. It's now just me, as my husband passed from a stroke in January 2023. So I'm doing it all now. So let's dive into the formula for manifesting what you would really want. First thing you're going to want to do is look at your desires. What do you want? There needs to be a focus with your choice. So think about it. What do you want? And what you want to do is choose your top 3 desires. And you're just going to choose 3. Because the more we scatter our thoughts, the less we receive. If we have it focused, focus is important. So go ahead and write them down. Okay. Next is belief. You're going to set an intention that it'll happen. And here is how you do that. You're going to feel it. And I'm going to give you an example. Greg Brayton wrote the book, The Isaiah Effect, Decoding the Last Science of Prayer and Prophecy. And in that book, he talks about an American Indian who came to him when there was a big drought in the Southwest. And he wanted to end that drought, obviously. And so he asked Greg if he could go up on the mountain with him and just get into the feeling of that drought being gone. So Greg, of course, agreed, and they went up on the mountain. They were up there for like 10 or 15 minutes. The American Indian took off his shoes, walked around, and it was only 10 or 15 minutes. And he came back to Greg and said, okay, let's go have lunch. And Greg said, wait a minute, I thought we were going to be up here all day praying for lunch, for rain. And the Indian said, no, if we'd done that, it never would have happened, because we were holding that it wasn't here. What I did is actually had the experience of it. So what you do with that is you think about what it's going to feel like. So that American Indian took off his shoes. He imagined that there was rain and then mud, and that he was walking in mud. So that's what he was doing as he was walking around. He looked across the mountain to the green. What he saw there was green cornfields, plenty. And so that was the story that Greg told. And it was really interesting. Within 1 week, the drought had totally broken. So that's the type of thing that you can see. He gave gratitude for the journey and an outcome in advance. Okay. So then what you do is you put attention there. So you continue, don't worry about how and when. Know you are being divinely guided. And let me give you another example of that. In 1999, after my divorce, I got online. Yes, internet dating still existed way back then. People thought I was crazy. But I got online and was looking for my soulmate. And I wrote in my journal, because that was something that I used to do, was kind of connect to spirit. And I put, okay, how am I going to know when I find my soulmate? And so what I wrote was, you'll see it, Terry, you're going to see a double rainbow in the sky. I said, okay, come on. Does that mean I'm never going to find my love? I've never seen a double rainbow in my life. You got to be kidding me. So this was in January of 1999. That month, Robert Cornish, not Robert Twine, was preparing to get married to a gal that he had been dating for 3 years. And on Valentine's Day of that year, so February 14th, he got married. Within 1 month, the gal said, hey, I'm out of here. She had this propensity to take back a car that she bought or something like that. She just kept changing her mind. But Robert was very, very positive, and he immediately looked at what he could do to find a love, because at this point he thought he had it, you know. And so within just a couple of months, he got back online, and we met online in May of that year. And then he came over to Reno. He was in California, completely different state and everything. He came over to meet me, and he jokingly asked if I would like to go up to Portland with him, where he was going to be coaching a race car driver. He was a coach of race car drivers and business leaders. So I didn't know he was joking. So I said yes. And our first date then was a week long. We did go up to Portland. And the first night when we went out to dinner, there was a double rainbow in the sky. You can't make this stuff up. It's just really fun. So just pay attention and listen to. Then the next step is intention. It's your inspired intuitive action. Mine was to keep going and to get online, etc., and to reach out to him. I actually reached out to him, and then it continued from there. So your inspired intuitive action. And inspired, think about it, means in spirit, being called to act because we're in alignment with true potential. That is us, our authentic selves. And you take one step and the universe will take 1,000. And I've seen that over and over again. The next part is is continuing to believe. In this, you look at no tension, trust. You just know what's going to happen. But remember that you are not concerned with the how or the when. You're just looking at what's your inspired action. You take this step, and then the next one will be shown to you. It's kind of like driving down the road at night. You don't worry about what's beyond your headlights, because you know as you get to the end of where you can see right this second with your headlights, that you will see more. And that's exactly the way it happens. And so, I've been using a theme for this year of what if it's simple and easy and fun? Everything works out in my favor. And when we hold that, it's amazing. And I want to teach you something that is going to help you make those decisions and so on. And that is the heart math breath. And the heart math breath was put together by the Heart Math Company. And I believe it was 1991 that they started doing research about that we get energy not just from our brain, but we also get it from our heart. And that this is scientifically proven that we get more energy from our heart than we actually do to our brain, from our brain. And when we can make those in coherence so that they are running together, then everything calms down. Our whole body calms down. We're able to think better. Our health is better, everything like that. So I'd like to show you right now something that you'll be able to use, and that is the heart math breath. And what you're going to do is put your hand on your heart, and I'll tell you the steps, and then we'll do it. You'll put your hand on your heart. You'll think about moving the breath from your head to your heart. And you're going to be breathing into the count of 4, holding it to the count of 5. And then as you let go to the count of 7, you take it all the way down your body, all the way down, and ground yourself with it. Okay. And you can also think of something positive as you start that breath. You can think of your cat, your dog, of the last time you were at the beach. And here's something else that you can do as you take out the breath. You can say love, ease, compassion. So let's try that now. So put your hand on your heart. Think of connecting your head with your heart. And you're thinking of something positive. I've got my Susie Q kitty here that's wanting loving. And you also think as you breathe in, love, ease, compassion. Hold it for a moment and breathe out all the way to your feet, grounding yourself. Let's do it one more time. Connecting your head with your heart and breathing into your heart, thinking of something positive. Breathing in with love, ease, and compassion, holding it for a moment, and taking it all the way to the ground. Not only does this have you be calm and centered, that helps your health, it helps your emotions, it helps you make decisions and everything else. That's the other piece of it. Also helps you make decisions. Before you do that, and you've got a decision, should I take this course? Should I go this direction, or should I go another direction? Do that heart math breath, and you'll be able to be more in spirit, as I call it, and divinely guided. So I want you to explore this more in a complimentary private session with me. As I said, then we will experience exactly what you are looking at. And so if you want to do that for yourself, and you can text me at my cell phone, which is 530-520-7991. And I'll send you a Calendly link to set that up. Again, it's 530-520-7991. Also, you can connect with me to get other information, I've got two Facebook groups. The Conscious Optimism Movement is all about being consciously optimistic. And Think of Grow Rich movement, of course, is all about Napoleon Hill's kind of stuff and everything else that has to do with that. So both of those are free. So love to have you there. If you got any questions, let me know. Again, it's Terri Cornish, Terri, Cornish, Cornish. And the phone number is 530-520-7991. All right. What else would you like to know?
Well, that's beautiful. That's so many amazing things that you shared with us about manifestation, about really the heart math, getting the brain aligned with the heart. I love that. Before we make a decision, really checking in with ourselves first. That's really powerful. And I want the people who are listening here, I want to go back through a little bit of what you shared, and I also want to encourage people, reach out to Terri, connect with Terri. And this is an amazing offer that she's offering to walk people through that process of manifestation. I love that you're offering that. It's such a powerful thing, and I appreciate you offering that to people out there, because if you say yes to that, it's going to transform your life. It's the things that we check in with yourself and see, is that something that's going to grow me? Is that something that's going to help? And the other day I had somebody that was talking to a little bit about an event that's coming up, the TUC, the Ultimate Coach Birmingham event. And they said, well, I checked into it and it doesn't align with me too much. And I said, when you were drinking, if you checked in and said, hey, somebody said, hey, why don't you try to do 10 minutes of meditation, would have that aligned with where you were at that point? And they said, probably not. Meditation wouldn't have aligned with where I was whenever I was drinking. And sometimes the things that are really going to grow us are outside of our comfort zone. The things that sometimes the things that are really going to bring us into a place of major growth in our life are outside of what we would consider what I would normally do. So I love people stepping out of their comfort zone a little bit to say yes to something that has the massive potential to help you to create your desires. This is one of those things. If people say yes to that, in my world, I see people who say yes to those things. Oh, look, there's your little kitty. That it transforms their lives. When people say yes to having a conversation with you, that's going to be something they get to say yes to, that's going to help to transform their lives. So with that being said, what I got from what you shared was, first, of being clear on asking, what is it that I want? That's the first step. Really getting clear about what are just start with three things you said. So getting clear about what it is that I want, and really, if I could have anything, what would it be? And then focus it down on that. What's the one thing out of those three things? I don't know if this is something you share, but this is what I got from it.
No, that's
focus
good.
on focus on the one thing you want and set an intention. Like you shared the beautiful story of Greg Braden and the Native American when they went to the top of the hill, and he saw the rain. Greg thought it was going to take an hour or 2 hours, or it was going to be there for a long time. In 15 minutes, the Native American comes back and he's like, let's go have lunch. And Greg's like, what do you mean? Aren't we going to be up here a long time? He's like, no, the longer we focus on that thing of we think
Not
we have
having
to
it.
do, yeah, not having it, the more it doesn't show up. I've seen that in my life as well. Um, Sometimes I focus on trying to make it happen so hard that I keep it out of my life, is what I heard from that. And I loved you shared, have gratitude for the journey, be grateful for the journey, and take that first inspired step, that faithful step, that inspired action, and pay attention to what's coming up around us. Be conscious and aware. This is what I heard from what you shared. Pay attention and be conscious of aware of what's coming up. And then I love the take one inspired action, one inspired step, and 1,000 come up. That's my synopsis of what you shared. Is that pretty close to what you had shared, or is there
It
more?
is. It is. Yeah. Yeah. And just know, particularly it's important of don't worry about it, because that adds, that's kind of like the opposite of when you're worrying. You're
Hmm.
looking at, don't be concerned about the how and the when. That's going to be divinely guided. Like with my soulmate, he was actually the 19th person I dated. I could have given up after 5 or something. The how and the when is just going to happen, and whether we see double rainbows or whatever, we know it when it happens. Yeah.
The other piece that I love about how you created that, or how you stepped into what was meant for you, that's my language for it, is stepping into what's meant for us, is
Right.
you were open to it, and you really ask, okay, what what am I going to see here? What's going to be the sign? And what came to you was double rainbow, and you were very clear, and you were paying attention to that. And when it came, you you knew that this is it. That was your
Yeah.
experience. I love that. It's such a beautiful story of being open to allow that to come into your life, and then being aware of what you're looking for, and to know that, what do we have to do to really allow that to come into our lives?
Be open to it. I mean, and seriously, what you're doing is choosing what you want and feeling it happen and looking for those inspired actions. And it's really interesting. I saw that double rainbow, and I didn't tell you that when I got home, I went hiking with a friend of mine, and I was telling her the story. Like I said, I had never seen a double rainbow and before that time in Portland. Here I was back in Nevada having a hike. And she said, Terri, like that. And I turned around and there was another double rainbow right there in my neighborhood. So it's kind of like, okay, so what we call it, God, universe, divine right action, whatever. There, I mean, it's like it was, and that's another thing, synchronicities. We have synchronicities all the time. If you start paying attention to them, you will find you have more. Synchronicity is something that just seems to happen out of nowhere. And if you start paying attention, you will be given more. And that leads you to where you're wanting to be. So it's awesome. It's fun.
So on the lines of paying attention, what's one what's one way that you pay more attention to what's happening around you?
Well, one thing that I do, Robert, is that every morning I grab a book. This one happens to say, Terri, you are perfect on it. It's my journal. And I open it up and I write down my gratitudes from the day before. I actually look at my calendar from the day before and go through what I'm grateful for. Everything that happened the day before, that adds to that energy. And it's amazing that like I said, I actually look at my calendar because I sometimes forget things. And I'm like, what do you mean? I forgot to write that down. A friend came over and to help me change the light bulbs and stuff. And first thing he did was say, Terri, give me a broom because I want to sweep your porch too. I mean, like, and I hadn't put that down, and there it was on my calendar. Yeah, it's amazing. And that positive energy, I believe it opens you up for more positive things to happen. Really do. It's kind of like looking at that. What if it's simple, easy, and fun? It's almost like that takes you to another part of your brain where you're not looking at worry, but where you're looking at possibilities that you hadn't thought about before.
From worry to possibility. I love that. That's an amazing shift from worry to possibility. And what I heard was the bridge to that was two things that you had mentioned earlier. One is focus, and one is intention. And I'm not sure that they're in that order, but you're intentional about creating an experience where every day you look at your yesterday, and you intentionally look at your calendar, and you go through and look at all the things. Oh wow, that was a cool experience I have to be grateful for. and
Mhm.
you remind yourself of the great things that happened. And I can remember a time in my life where I used to look back at yesterday and say, yeah, well, yeah, what crappy happened yesterday? What was so terrible about yesterday? And I would look back and go, yeah, all these terrible things happened. And I love that you're bringing to our awareness in this of that that can be a choice. We can choose
Yes,
to look for the great things that are happening in our life and the things that are blessings, or we can choose. So the focus, the intention, and the choice is the other word that
right.
comes to mind is, and you had mentioned that too, is you said we're choosing what we want. So let's choose something that we really do want to create in the world, and as opposed to worry. How many people want to create worry? Most of us would say no. And how many people out there are creating worry in your life? I did it today. I had some worries today, and I got to step into a new way of being. So I really appreciate this. Has been a very amazing conversation. And if there's one thing that you would leave the listeners, the people who are watching this, what's just one something you would like to leave with them?
A smile. It's amazing what happens with a smile. If you want to change your energy so it's higher and so on, and get to that point of choosing your choice, and or if you found yourself worrying, just smile. And it changes not just muscles. You'll find that it changes your whole body. I mean, I do this at the store, when I'm checking out at the grocery store or something, I smile and people always smile back. You are spreading that to the world.
Thank you, Terry. I appreciate that. So spread your smile to the world, and the world will smile back. That's what I'm hearing. Thank you
Yes,
so much. Yeah, thank
you're
you so much
welcome.
for your beautiful way of being and sharing that with us here today. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks.
And remember out there, reach out to Terry. She shared her information in here. Reach out with her at the Conscious Optimism Movement on Facebook. And then
Mhm.
also the other one was Think and Grow Rich, Facebook. So thank you
Think
so
and Grow
much.
Rich movement. Yeah, both of them end
Thank
in
you.
the word movement because we're moving to what we want. Yeah.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you
All
so
right. Well,
much.
thank you so much. All right.